Hey guys, this is Nathan and welcome to the Gaming 4. Today in this Unturned update video, I'm going to be covering the changes that occurred in update 3.15.1.0. Now, most of the changes in this update occurred inside of the editor, so we're going to be heading over there really quickly. But before we do, there's just a few things I want to mention. With this update, Nelson added a lot more destructible items, including these trash bags. This is one of the few that I could actually find, because they are trying to kind of tricky to find. You got to sort of shoot things and see if you get the damage indicator. Besides that, there's something pretty interesting with the blowtorch. He narrowed it down to a 1x2 slot, which is pretty great because it takes up a lot less inventory. A few more changes that I actually can't show you outright is that he made arrow range not as far as it used to be, so they just don't shoot as far, and he made ranger gun damage a little bit higher. The last change has to do with dead trees, and I know it's been something that's bugged people a lot in the past. Pretty much when you have a dead tree stump, before you really couldn't climb over top of it, and you could pretty much climb up the tree actually, even though it was chopped down. Well, now that is changed, and you can now jump on top of the dead tree stump. That is, if I can chop this tree down. There we go. So we got the tree chopped down, and before with this stump you'd be stopped like right around here, but now you can jump on top of that. And of course, as you guys can see from third person, kind of, it's not completely accurate. I'm still floating on top of the tree a bit, but it's a lot better than it was before. Before you could even like climb up to the very top of the tree, and now you can't do that. So, great. I'm glad he's fixed that, because that was a big, that bugged me a lot before. Alright, so here we are inside the editor, and, as you first look around, nothing really seems different. But as we start getting into the specific tools, like the heights, you start to see new things, such as noise. So pretty much what noise does is, as you're doing the height, it'll add, randomness to what you're painting down. So, for example, it won't raise it all at the same time. It'll make it random throughout, the area you're painting. So that's pretty much what noise is. Pretty simple, but, definitely can be useful. Of course, I turn noise up all the way. That's just going to be something you guys are going to have to mess with, find the right levels of noise that you actually want. Within materials, there's actually been a huge change. The look of the materials tab has totally been changed. We've got, all these materials now pretty nicely laid out on the side. Of course, I think they are a little weird for me. I don't think everybody's is like this. I don't know, for some reason mine got messed up somehow. All the same tools are there. You've got the overgrowth, chance, steepness, transition. They're just in a different spot. As well as for the other one, we've got noise. So we can do, randomness here. It makes it really easy to, place down speckles, sort of a material onto another material. There's a preview baked button here. There's also bake high quality and bake low quality. So depending on maybe what your computer can handle, you can bake high quality, and this will obviously take a longer time, but it'll bake stuff for you. And then baking lower quality will obviously just bake lower quality. So it all depends on what your preference is and what works best for you. Another 3 things that are added are these: ignore steepness, ignore height, and ignore footprint. Now these 3 all take place of one checkbox that was generated. So whether you wanted it to be generated or not. And so pretty much with a certain material, let's say dirt, we can ignore steepness, ignore height, and ignore footprint. Pretty much what all those are going to do is it's going to ignore all those certain factors when generating onto the landscape. So I really don't have a good way of showing you how that works. It's going to change things very slightly. I really don't know how much it's going to change it, but that's going to be something else to sort of mess with. That's going to be a preference thing, whether you want to use that or not, it's up to you. As we move on into details, we see we've got the same layout as the materials. We've got the nice sidebar and all the options at the bottom. That's pretty much the only change. Obviously, it probably could use a little more improvement because these are kind of stretched in some ways and they are bad quality, but it's whatever. It works. Same with resources. We've got all of the resources on the side. And as you probably noticed already, they are compacted because it would take a lot of room to show all the pictures for those, and they would be pretty big pictures too, so that's just the way that he did it. Moving on to environments, the only thing that's changed in here is actually the road editor, and apparently this has gotten a huge overhaul. So once again, it reflects the new stylization change with everything on the side sort of taking up less of your screen. But as you place these, I think the roads are going to work quite differently. So yeah, as you can see, we've got these nice slider bars here, and you can change these to get nice curves. You know, I think instead of having to place the many points, you can now do this. The way you control them here, I'm going to place a few more dots. The way you control these slider bars is you can click either side of these, and then pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to press E to relocate them. And so pretty much with this, you can just create different types of curves, do all sorts of things. It changes based on how far away you are from that original node. And so pretty much this whole thing is just going to make, it's going to make for a lot better roads, definitely a lot smoother, and a lot better for, you know, just quality wise. So now let's bake this, and as you can see, you know, it's still not perfect. I took quite a sharp turn here, but you know, it's pretty dang good. And also, as you noticed, the quality isn't the best, so you can probably still add a lot of those little dots to improve the quality, but you know, it's not bad for just a few points. Now, of course, we do have this loop button, and pretty much what this does, it'll connect to both ends, and you know, that's pretty much all you need to know. So it'll allow you to make loops pretty easily. And there's also this ignore terrain button. Let's start placing onto another road, and I'm not exactly sure what this will do, but I think when you bake it, it'll make it act differently. So let's actually find some terrain over here, and let's place it through the terrain, and let's tell it to ignore it and bake the road. So I'm not really seeing any difference, but apparently yeah, there is, and I guess that's something to figure out as we continue to use this. So I'm not really sure exactly what that option's for, but besides that, everything is about the same. We've got the depth, height, width, and concrete or not. And that concrete thing, just to remind you guys, is the sound of the material when you walk on it, whether it makes, you know, the nice concrete sounding noise as you step on it. Alright guys, so still in the editor, the last main change I want to mention to you guys, probably the largest change of this update, because it's totally going to revolutionize maps, but now within the object editor. Okay, so to start off, we've got this nice search bar, and I think this is going to work well, because in the past, as you were typing in the search bar, you were typing stuff and it would randomly switch out of the search bar and like place an object or something weird like that, or delete something. Now I think with this new search bar that will be fixed, but also something that has to do with the search bar is you now have to press either enter or search to search up the item. So let's search up house here. We can press enter and it'll search the houses for us. Let's search light here. We can also press this button to search as well. So that works really well. Obviously if you search nothing, it'll show up with everything. But really the main change that, you know, is going to change a lot of things is the fact that you can now scale objects. Now this is just, truthfully, this is crazy. I'm not sure, I understand why he added it, it's going to be fun, really, but you can now like scale things down so where they're like tiny. Like this is as tall as a person's going to be, you know? Like I can't even think of what the implications of this are going to be. This is going to be huge, you know, this is going to change map making so much, because now like you can make things massive, you can make things tiny. I just can't even imagine what people are going to be able to do with this. So obviously that's crazy. The hotkey for this is R. So in order to, you know, quickly switch to that, we can switch to transform, rotation, and then R for this new scalability option. Now of course, as you guys see as I'm using it, I'm pressing the very middle white box here in the middle, and this allows me to scale all three planes at the same time. If you wanted to do just one of them, you can. So you can stretch it, you can even invert it, you can, you know, stretch it long ways and even tall ways. So, those are the three aspects of, stretching this material. So yeah, I can't really wait to see what happens in terms of map making, because this is definitely going to revolutionize it. So anyway, not much more to do inside of this map editor. I do have one more thing to mention though. There is now an option to be able to float upwards and downwards. You do have to be holding right click, but now if you press Q and E, you will be able to move up and down, and if you press Shift Q and Shift E, you'll do it faster. So these are pretty much, just another option for moving around. Before you had to actually look down. Now you can just press E and you'll fly right into the ground. Now obviously this is not going to mess up with your objects. E still places an object, but if you right click and E, you'll just move down. So obviously there's a distinction between those, and yeah, so hopefully that'll just make moving around your maps just a little bit easier, a little more convenient. So that's pretty much everything I have to mention for this new update. Oh, one more thing before I forget. There has been a change to the claim flags. Now when you have placed a claim flag, somebody else can't place their claim flag within your claimed area. So, that's probably actually a pretty good change, pretty affecting. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this update. Mostly just a lot of changes to the editor, and definitely going to change how maps are made. It's going to be crazy. So anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned enough about the update that you guys wanted to. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see some more. I will see you all later.